You ever notice that people hype you up when you're doing all the things, doing everything? But the minute you slow down or pull back or decline, they look at you like something's wrong with you. It's really wild, at least in my opinion, because they love you for what you represent, what you have, what you bring, what you do, but rarely do they consider what you have to give or what you have to do it. And so you're hearing things like, you always come through, you're so solid. I don't know how you do it, girl. First of all, I'm not a girl. I'm a grown woman, so let's start there. But in any case, you let it go because that's what you do. That's that programming and conditioning. Meanwhile, you're letting it go at the cost of what is happening internally, because your inside voice, yourself, your spirit, your intuition, whatever you want to call it, you inside are saying to yourself, I don't want to be like this anymore. This version of me is not working out for me, and I don't want to keep living like this. So if you've ever felt like this, stay with me. Because here's what many people don't say out loud. Black women get praised, applauded, acknowledged the loudest, but supported the least. And in everyday life, it shows up. You know, you're the one who's called because they assume that you show up. And that assumption is because you've been showing up. So what's going to change? And it's not really because they've checked on you or because they know that you have the capacity to show up. It's the assumption that what else are you going to do but show up, because you always show up, because that's a role you've played and you've played it so well that it's almost like your humanity is not seen or questioned even, because you've shown up even when you didn't want to show up, couldn't show up, sick, falling apart, but still going and doing things. You keep moving even when you're stretched thin, even when the plate is like about to topple over. But oh no, I have to add one more thing, because if I don't do it, who else will? Or no one else can do it. Because a lot of that too is tied to our internal feelings of unworthiness, and how doing gives us some relief and makes us feel like we do matter and we're valuable. So you play the part because it has kept you safe, and it has kept you from dealing with what not doing reveals, or even excavating what's really going on, you know? But the part that stings is, while you're appreciated for what you do, which is not a bad thing in and of itself. I always like to give some context. But when it's only or solely based on what you do, and the praise does not extend into care or concern, and you're not seen or seen as you are, that's when it's questionable, because there's a lot of one-sided benefit, where they're benefiting from your strength, from your showing up, from your reliability, and it's not always intentional. In fact, more often than not, it's because of the way you have set up your life and how you're showing up in it. So they're dependent, or they're benefiting from your reliability. They're dependent on it also to some extent. They love that you're stable, you're always there, always ready. But none of that means that they understand you. And this is where that gap is created, because you're starting to feel it within you, even though you continue to perpetuate and keep that whole cycle going. You know, none of it means that they understand you or even care to understand you, or what it takes for you to just keep going on. So then this happens, you go home, you're feeling it now, you're feeling flat, there's no emotions, no feelings, not falling apart, but just disconnected, dissociated from what is happening. And I always like to say it's like you're watching your life from the outside in and seeing this person, this you, doing all these things, but there's no connection. It's like a separate person, you know. And black women tell me this all the time. I didn't even realize some version of it, right? How I didn't realize how far gone I was until my body started to tell me, and it was more than just the telling of that voice. It was the body breaking down in ways that you had to get your attention, that you had to say, what is happening here? So they're saying, I didn't know this until my body started to react. And of course, at that point, you have no choice but to pause and really try to figure out what's going on. Not with a lens to fix, but just to surface it. You know, that's what long term performing does eventually. So, what you have to do is to stop and check within yourself so that you can see that when you stop checking in with yourself, when you stop wanting anything, when you stop expecting help, this is what happens. You start to believe that you should be able to carry it all because you always have. Meanwhile, as they celebrate your strength, you're disappearing inside. And you're looking around and thinking everything looks good. Why doesn't it feel good? So the real pattern is that because you've been rewarded your most of your adult life or even your childhood, you've ignored your limits. And people are not checking on you because you have unintentionally taught them that you don't need it. And most people only care about themselves anyway. It's true. So when you have somebody who doesn't put any demands or position themselves to look like they need, want, they move on. And that identity that protected you is wearing you down. Because now you're feeling like no one's doing this. Why? Because you set it up like this. And that's why even when the compliments stop feeling like they used to, you still keep going. But what is glaring is that you're not inside it anymore. So I want to ask you as I round up, what are you carrying? What are you shouldering? What are you pushing through, powering through, doing that nobody sees? And how long have you been pretending that it doesn't bother you? Think about it. There's something while you do or as you do, take a minute to sign up for the Soft Life Shift Masterclass. I created it for high achieving black women who are over this disappearing act and still performing. Because inside, I will share with you the real emotional pattern that is keeping you essentially abandoning yourself. And I'll give you also some shifts that will help you to start choosing yourself without feeling guilty, without feeling like you have to explain, like you owe anybody anything, or even some backlash, because there will be people who benefit from you not speaking up and always doing are going to push back. But once you are able to focus on you, it doesn't matter because it really shouldn't anyway. So I'd love to see you in the masterclass, and I'm inviting you to use the link below or somewhere in the description to sign up. I'll see you in the next video.